Okay, so this is obviously the first of my catch-up movie and TV reviews. So, yeah, I do kind of understand if maybe things are a little weird here just because I have to work a little bit off of memory with some of these. In particular, one of the episodes we're covering today is an episode is literally the episode I watched right before I broke my leg. So, um, yeah. So do kind of bear with me if maybe memory gets a little futzy sometimes and it's not the best. I try my darndest to keep abreast of everything, but like I said, I didn't also want to get spoiled, so you're kind of stuck with what I got here, basically. Also, again, we're going to be doing my overall thoughts at the beginning, and then there's going to be a big spoiler section. I mean, I know what we're reviewing is quite old, and it's, like I said, probably already been spoiled, but just on the offhand chance, you've been forewarned. Okay? Okay. So, yeah. Basically, Star Wars Ahsoka, I'm presuming it's season 1, is going to get a B. Overall, there's some really good aspects of this. There's some great action sequences. The score is really top-notch. Really good performances throughout. If I have any real qualms with it, it's that it is very insular in Star Wars. I don't think I could recommend this to someone who's only just barely familiar. Like, if they've only seen the movies, or the movies and just The Mandalorian, or something to that effect. If you haven't watched the Clone Wars animated series, Star Wars Rebels, maybe Star Wars Resistance as well, you're going to be kind of out of the loop on some of this stuff. So it could be confusing. So if you could see where aspects of that are going to get a little bit in the way. Likewise, I understand, obviously, with the sad passing of Ray Williamson, that certain things could not be addressed, but that does leave some threads dangling a little bit. So, hopefully that's not too much of a spoiler, but yeah, that's kind of why I'm giving Star Wars Ahsoka Season 1 a B.
Star Wars figures. R2-D2. Chewbacca, Luke, and Princess Leia. They're the Star Wars Early Bird set of figures. These action figures are not yet available, but this Star Wars Early Bird certificate package is in stores. With this colorful Star Wars picture display stand and certificate, to send in to get a set of figures by mail. They'll be sent to you at home between February 1st and June 1st. The Star Wars Early Bird certificate package, new from Kenner.
Long ago, in a galaxy far, far away, the Star Wars saga began, and Kenner continues the excitement.
Rafa!
Tauntaun Hothwampa and action figures each sold separately.
Han Solo! Hell, it's got Luke! Rafa! Watch it, Tauntaun! Gotcha!
Tauntaun comes with an open belly rescue feature.
You'll be okay, Luke, as soon as I chase away that thing. Rafa!
Tauntaun Hothwampa and other action figures each sold separately from Kenner's Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back collection.
Okay, again, this is the big spoiler section. Like I said, I know this is about 5 months old, but just in case you still don't want to be spoiled, skip to here if you want to avoid it. Okay. Also, again, bear in mind, I am working on one episode, which is episode 5, which was called Shadow Warriors. This obviously was the episode I watched right before I broke my leg and had to take my big break, so yeah, that's almost being worked entirely from memory, but basically all we get is, this is the Ahsoka meets up with Anakin's Force Ghost in the Force Bridge realm, I think, or I can't remember exactly what it was called. But yeah, it's, you see a little bit of, you see him acting a little bit like Darth Vader, but then, the rest of the time he's basically Anakin. They kind of go over some of his past actions. You see them leading the siege against Siege of Mandalore. I don't know. You see a bit of the Siege of Mandalore. He's basically trying to rebuild her confidence after she got beaten again. That's basically, like I said, I'm trying to work from purely memory on that. But yeah, eventually she emerges alive, and then she and Young Yang, the robot, or the Jedi training droid, take off after Ahsoka. Sabine, who had left with the villains of the piece. And that basically leads into episode 6, where Ahsoka basically hitches a ride inside a star whale, which is heading in the direction that that the villains were all heading in. The Star Whales can also travel through hyperspace, but the funny thing is, where they're going is basically where the whales go to die. And I don't mean that because there's a bunch of booby traps attacking them. When they get there, it's basically that this planet, which I think was, I couldn't quite catch the name, because sometimes it sounded like Neridia, and other times it sounded like Viridia, so make of that what you will. But it's kind of like the Night Sisters' homeworld, and Elizabeth used her connections to them to basically locate this place, and it's where Thrawn is based. And so we finally get to see Admiral Thrawn. He's built up his forces. They have everything prepared for him to return to, let's just call it Star Wars Galaxy. But he doesn't know whether or not Ezra is still alive, and so he says, look, I know you made this agreement. He tells me, look, I know you made this agreement with Skull, but Skull and Hati, the two the two Inquisitors, I believe, or former Inquisitors, I can't remember their exact positions, but, Skull is an ex-Jedi. I don't know what Hati is supposed to be, but yeah, I'm sorry, I'm dwelling on something here, but basically, Skull promised you to find Ezra. I can't guarantee he's alive, but this is kind of the direction we last saw him in. Here you go, we'll give you supplies and you can go find him. And, of course, obviously he then sends Skull and Hati after her to kill her once she finds Ezra. She eventually does find Ezra after she's first attacked by bandits, and then she happens across these little hermit crab creatures. It turns out Ezra has been living with them for some time. She doesn't quite have the explanation as to how everything is. She doesn't want to completely fill him in on everything because she thinks Ahsoka's dead at this point. It's at this point, like I said, that Ahsoka finally arrives on the planet. And, they get the big reunion. Skull and Hati attack. And unfortunately, this is kind of where Skull basically leaves the picture. That's in, we went through episode 6, which was quite far, far away. Episode 7 is, just a sec here, fuck too much up. Dreams and Madness. Basically at that point, Skull kind of says, well, my destiny does not lie with you, and he leaves Hati. And again, obviously I know with Ray Williamson's passing that this is probably, obviously he didn't die before they shot this part, but they probably had something bigger planned for him, and they couldn't follow through on it. You then see him, I'll just say this, you see him again at the end of episode 8. He's standing on a cliffside. It's a cliff that looks like an individual, and their hand is pointing out, and he's standing on the hand, and that's kind of all you see. So, unfortunately, that's, like I said, that's a bit of a dangling plot thread that's probably never going to be able to really get tied, if you catch my drift. But anyway, as this is happening, back in the Star Wars galaxy, for lack of a better term, I said, Syndulla is getting grilled by the Republic Senate. There's this one, dork senator who says, we never authorized this, or the Empire's dead, blah, 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 blah. And, Thrawn, this is just a story, can you guarantee, are you sure he's coming back unless you can verify something? And it's at this point that C-3PO interrupts the hearing and says that, I have this message from Senator Leia, and it said, actually, nope, this mission was authorized. And so I think it's basically played as Leia found out about it and is now trying to backtrack cover. And that's put them in some hot water as, Mon Mothma's like, you can't count on this sort of thing to happen again, so you're really going to have to be careful. But as this happens, Thrawn's finally preparing to launch. The Night Sisters take Elizabeth aside and they imbue her with special magic. We've now moved on to the season finale, which is the Jedi, the Witch, and the Warlord. Yeah. They imbue her with... Thrawn, just a sec here, sorry. Yeah, they're making the final preparations for takeoff. Yeah, Elizabeth is basically then made to look mostly like the Night Sisters. I don't think she's granted full sister status in the strictest sense of the term, but she's given a sword that she can imbue with the sisters' magic. Also, the sisters can reanimate the corpses of their stormtroopers, so you can revive them. So, yeah, Star Wars zombies again. Star Wars did technically tackle zombies once in the books, the novels, not comic books. There was a story, I believe, set in either early Empire or Old Republic that involved troopers encountering zombie troopers. It was not highly regarded, as I recall. Like, I think it was an interesting concept, but it came during, obviously, like when Walking Dead had hit huge and there was just zombies everywhere. So, yeah, it kind of looked a little bit cash-y. Anyway, so, yeah, she gets imbued with magic. They send some TIE fighters out to attack Ahsoka's ship again. You know, they kind of wind up taking it down. As just after Ezra managed to construct a new lightsaber for himself. And Sabine it kind of talks about she's getting pretty good at the lightsaber, but it's at this point Hu Yang basically explains what happened that caused the fallout with Ahsoka and Sabine, which was after the Siege of Mandalore, Ahsoka began to fear that Sabine was entering Jedi training for the wrong reasons. She was looking to get revenge, and you're not supposed to do that. You know, you have to find the balance in the Force. You can't act completely on your emotions, and that's sort of what caused the wedge to be driven between them. And so from that, you know, you see, now they're bonding back together again. And again, as Ahsoka points out, you know, it's more than just being able to wield a lightsaber and throw things with your mind. It's also, you need to, know your emotional balance. You have to do this and that. Yeah, as I'm pretty sure you're all aware of with Star Wars. And so, the ship winds up getting damaged again, so, she can't take off to go after Thrawn before he leaves. So they have to do it kind of on foot. They have to race to this spot. As that happens, they have to fight through Thrawn's forces. The ship just starts taking off when they get to the platform. Sabine convinces Ezra, because Sabine can use the Force now. She actually, at one point, loses her lightsaber and calls it back to her hand. So she has some Force control at this point. She says, look, the only way we're going to get there is you have to jump. I can push you across with the Force, and then you are going to have to pull me across. But then, as that happens, Ahsoka winds up arriving. She's fighting with Elsbeth, and Sabine elects to come to Ahsoka's aid, and Thrawn basically gets away. He jumps into hyperspace right after Ahsoka kills Elsbeth, and takes off after him. The ship gets repaired just enough, but it gets caught in the hyperspace wake, and so they're stuck on this planet. However, Ezra manages to steal a scout fighter from Thrawn and heads back to Republic headquarters so he can reunite with Syndulla. And that's kind of where everything leaves, basically. The Hermit Crab people take Sabine and Ahsoka in, and at some point Ahsoka senses something, but you think, maybe that, again, because Ezra got in contact with the Republic, he's probably going to be able, that's probably going to be like the first episode of Season 2, but after that, it's going to be, it turns out it was just Anakin's Force ghost looking on in approval of Ahsoka, and that's how the show ends, the season. Not really much to say else than that. Like I said, overall, this was a very good show, very entertaining, but like I said, if, I'm versed in Star Wars, I'm not too deeply versed, like I never finished all those shows I mentioned in the first part, so, yeah, even I had to constantly look back and reference things, and like I said, I would not recommend this to a Star Wars novice. I think, you could recommend, obviously, The Mandalorian, or the Obi-Wan show, maybe even Andor. I don't think you could recommend this. I think this is strictly for the Star Wars diehards, and that's why I couldn't give it a full recommendation of an A. Other than that, like, I think a B is a very good, solid recommendation for it. Like, you know, it's for the Star Wars fan, the big Star Wars fans. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but like I said, I just can't recommend it to everyone. Like, that's what an A would do.
Tauntaun! Tauntaun!
From Kenner's Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back collection, it's new Tauntaun.
My mission is urgent.
Tauntaun has removable reins and saddle. Action figures each sold separately.
Hail, Rebel soldier! Han Solo, help! Luke Skywalker's in danger.
Tauntaun's front and hind legs move.
Luke's okay! I found him! Our mission's complete.
Tauntaun from Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back collection. Action figures each sold separately. New from Kenner.
Chewie, an Imperial probot is searching for the Rebel base.
It's Kenner's turret and probot playset. You have to put it together.
Let's check it out, Chewbacca. Keep me covered with a laser cannon.
Action figures each sold separately. You can move Han Solo with the action lever and knock out the probot.
We got him, Chewie! Yay! But now they know where we are.
Turret and probot playset from Kenner's Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back collection. Action figures each sold separately.
Okay, so in all likelihood, the next video is going to be for Season 2 of Loki. Hopefully that'll be a bit more cohesive than this one was. Obviously, I won't have to work entirely from memory on that one, so I'll be able to just watch all the episodes over again. I didn't want to go back and rewatch anything with this one. After that, it's going to be the Marvels, then Echo, and after that, it will in all likelihood be the Doctor Who specials. I didn't get the chance to watch them either, so Doctor Who is something I've wanted to kind of talk about in these things for a while, and with it being on Disney Plus now, it makes it a little more advantageous to me. Like I said, I know BBC has gotten claim happy with that, but maybe now that they're a few months old, it's probably died down a little bit. As long as I'm not going to be showing full clips or anything like that. So I don't think it's going to be, anything of that nature. It'll just be like what you've seen here. But still, like I said, kind of itching to get back into Doctor Who. So let's see. After that, it's going to be TNA No Surrender, then WWE Elimination Chamber, and after that, it will be the random trade review on Transformers. See you all next time. Hey guys, remember you can request a movie or a television series for me to review at my Patreon at patreon.com/sleepytime for Cat Productions. Also, remember to like the video, comment, share, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so that you can be alerted to further videos.